Thanks, Minerva. She's the best. Good morning and welcome to the WellMed Charitable Foundation's Caregiver Teleconnection series. Today we have an amazing presentation by Sheri Fairman. Let me tell you a little bit about Sheri. She has a Master's of Social Work Master of Social Work degree and certification as trainer and consultant with Teepa Snow's positive approach to care. She is also certified to support care partners using the DICE approach to dementia care. She has worked as a dementia care specialist with the Aging and Disability Resource Center in Brown County, Wisconsin, and is the owner of Dementia Care Solutions, LLC. And she today is going to talk about, she's going to kind of add on, maybe breeze over a little bit of what she did last time and add on to the beautiful job she did before of making us aware, more aware of how the person with dementia sees us as we enter their life. And with that, Sheri.
Thank you so much. And welcome everybody. Welcome back. One thing I did last time we started, and Evelyn thought it would be a great thing to do again, is introduce you to a way of greeting somebody using a positive approach to care. And you can use this with anybody. You can use this with your family, with your friends, with people with dementia or whomever. And I'll kind of model it for you, and Evelyn's going to be my partner in this. So, hey, it's Sheri, and you are
Evelyn.
Evelyn. Hey, Evelyn. Hey, I live in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and you?
I live in San Diego, but I love the Packers.
You live in San Diego, but you are a Packer fan.
Yes.
I live about 1.5 miles away from Lambeau Field.
You are pretty lucky.
So I'm here today to provide some more information to some eager learners about dementia care, and a positive way of providing it. And you?
I didn't know you were coming to my room.
Oh, you didn't know I was coming into your room? Oh, well, I'm sorry.
Well, it's okay.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, I should have let you know I was coming.
What do you do here?
So I actually work here, and I help people like you in their day-to-day life. And you?
I could use some help.
You could use some help. Yeah. Are you feeling thirsty or something else?
I can't remember things.
Oh, okay. So you're struggling with remembering some things. Yeah.
Yes.
That's got to be frustrating.
Yes. Sometimes I can't find my room.
So you're looking for your room.
Yes.
Hey, I got an idea. Let's go see. I'll help you find it.
Oh,
okay, let's take a pause.
Okay.
Wow, Evelyn, way to throw me out there. That was wonderful.
Used to work in a nursing home.
Yes, that was not something we practiced. And I love it. I love that, flying with it. So in our exchange, some of the things you might have noticed was initially I offered what I'm expecting from her, and then I gave it to her. So I'm Sheri and you are? It's easier and it feels better, doesn't it, Evelyn? Than to be like, who are you?
Yeah, it feels more like a partnership.
A partnership, right. And then also when I was like, well, I live in Green Bay, and you, I'm handing it to her as to an example what to say. So I might have just said, I live in Wisconsin. That would kind of give her an idea of just to give the state and not the city but I gave Green Bay, Wisconsin, and then she added on to it. Did you also notice how whatever she said, I reflected? You're looking for your room. You're feeling frustrated. You need something to do. Whatever it is that she was saying, I reflected it. And Evelyn, how did that make you feel?
That you heard me.
Yeah, you feel heard. And feeling heard is a really important thing for all of us. But if we have dementia, feeling heard can take us from this moment where I'm feeling anxious, I don't know where my room is and I need some help, to, oh, you need some help. Yeah, I do. Now I'm in a new moment. And so with dementia, it's all about the moment. And the new moment, we have to meet them in this new moment. While our head might still be in this moment where they're anxious, we've moved them to a new moment. And so when they say, yeah, I need to find my room. Hey, can I help you? Yes, please. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so welcome to today's presentation. This is part 2 of the using a positive approach. They will be sending out part 1 when you get the recording of this one. So I'm gonna hold on a second here.
We'll send it out with the resources, which we do after every session with your post-session questionnaire, and I'll tell you about that at the end of this session.
Wonderful. I'm gonna show you my screen here so you can see what we've got here. Let me move you over. Once you share your screen, it moves everything around. So feel free to throw things in the chat if you've got any questions. Evelyn will be sure to pause me whenever she finds an opportunity where somebody might want to unmute and ask a question. So today we're talking about using a positive approach. Full disclosure, Evelyn did mention that I have certifications as trainer and consultant with Teepa Snow's Positive Approach to Care. I have graduated my mentorship, or my apprenticeship, so I am now a full mentor with her program, and she contracts with me to do some work. So I'll talk a little bit later about how you might see me in that capacity, but she guides my practice. So full disclosure that there's a lot of things here that I'm sharing with permission from Teepa Snow. So this is my contact information. I'm throwing it out front because if we run later and I can't get to it and you're wondering, how do I get a hold of her? This is how you do it. You can call me or text me. Email works great. You can take a look at my website if you want some more information. Some of my resources are downloadable there. And I offer a free 30-minute consult to anybody, whether you're a professional, a care partner. I've had multiple family members call me for their each individual 30-minute consult, because guess what? Each individual caregiver has a unique experience with dementia. So please do know that in the consultations, you'll get education about brain disease. We'll discuss what challenging situations are going on, and we'll discuss solutions. I provide support provide support throughout the disease process. I can provide case management. I can help you with planning, what to do with the next steps. And I can also do coaching, and community presentations. I provide coaching on the floor in facilities. So I've been on shift with staff and coaching them through. We're in a caregiver crisis right now. And so pulling a bunch of really dedicated staff off the floor to attend a workshop is challenging. Mm-hmm. I will do that. But what we have found is that getting me out on the floor and helping people is really helpful as well. And I've got some other programs and things too that I'll share with you that I can also help with. All right, so I'm going to unshare my screen. I'll be doing this back and forth because if you're like me, I don't want to sit and stare at a PowerPoint the whole time. So I'm going to ask you guys to do something. All right. Back up away. And you actually have to try this or it's not going to make any sense. You don't have to stand up or anything. You can sit down, but back away, and everyone put your hands, fold your arms up in front of you like this. Then put them down. Now fold it again. Now put it down. Make sure you can kind of see my arms. Fold them again. Put them down. All right. Now look at your arms. Which hand is tucked in? Which one can you see the fingers? Just take note of that. Now put them down. Now do it again, but this time have the other hand tucked in and the other hand with the fingers up. Okay, do it again. Do it the weird way. All right, you do it one more time. No. Think about, what is this like for you? How does this feel doing this the other way? It's kind of awkward, right? Why do you think that is?
Building new brain cells.
Ooh, bingo! Building new brain cells. So why do you think I had you do it multiple times? And how long do you think it would take you to practice before you can do it as natural as the other way? 6 weeks. So it takes about 6 weeks to create new neural pathway in your healthy brain and to create a new habit. And now it does depend on what you're practicing. So more complex things might take longer. Simpler things might take less time. But consider how this relates to changes you want to make in your life. I want to go to the gym more often. I want to eat more fruits and vegetables. I want to learn an instrument. I want to try painting. I want to get good at something, and etc. So think about how this works with what we're doing with caregivers. What do we know about our brains? I'm going to share the screen again. All right. What do we know about how our brains learn and create new habits? We're talking about neuroplasticity. Evelyn, you are absolutely right. Our brain's ability to create new neural pathways, or what I like to call ruts in the road. We create neural pathways by repeating our thoughts, repeating our behaviors, good or bad. Yes. So it feels a little bit like we've got our shoes on the wrong feet at first. This just isn't comfortable, right? Until we create a new rut in the road, a new neural pathway. And knowledge is one thing. We can know stuff, but applying what you've learned takes practice. So how does this relate to our journey as care partners? When a person starts to exhibit some dementia symptoms, we start to notice how the way we used to communicate with them and interact with them isn't working. We have to learn a new way of being. And that takes practice. Practice, practice, practice. We have to practice it. It's not just going to come naturally. So before we dig in to the positive approach that we're going to talk about today, I want to review with you what dementia is. It's a group of symptoms. Many of you know this. It's not a particular disease. So what's causing those dementia symptoms? That's the diagnosis. For example, someone could have dementia symptoms due to Alzheimer's disease. We know that dementia is both the chemical changes as well as structural changes in the brain. So that means that symptoms can kind of come and go or appear to have good days or bad days or good moments and bad moments. And kind of sounds like all of us, right? But there's a difference when someone's experiencing brain cell death. So take a look at this slide. It's maybe a little different than what you've noticed. What we're used to, maybe the umbrella. This particular slide is focusing on the top part that says there's 4 truths about dementia. Number 1, 2 parts of the brain are dying, changing, declining, and it isn't always related to memory issues like in Alzheimer's when we're noticing that short-term memory or difficulty finding words. So depending on the type of dementia, it could present with other difficulties, things like visual disturbances or that physical rigidity that we see in Lewy body, or like vascular dementia. Sometimes we notice some different symptoms affecting emotions or judgment, depending on where the brain is affected by that vascular depletion of oxygen. And also consistency. So vascular dementia can sometimes they can seem like they don't have dementia, and then they can seem like they do. With frontal temporal dementia, we can see personality changes first. Oftentimes it is misdiagnosed. People in their 40s and 50s often are that age range that get frontal temporal dementia, and they may be misdiagnosed with a mental health condition because it can present that way. People with frontal temporal dementia, or we call FTD, also have some issues with impulse control or difficulty with verbal communication. Number 2, there's nothing that can fix it. We can't cure it, and we can't make it go away. That's a truth. We know that the person who has this disease is going to need some help living with it. It can take 8 to 12 years from the time this person is diagnosed or notices symptoms. And this can make it really challenging to care for because, number 3, it's constantly changing. What works today might not work tomorrow. And lastly, number 4, it's terminal. If you don't pass away from something else, like a heart attack or stroke, the dementia will kill the part of the brain that regulates your heart rate and your breathing. But keep in mind, we are all existing in a condition that's terminal. Life. So because we're all in this life together, we might as well figure out how to make it the best quality of life while we've got it. All right, I want to talk with you. We talked a little bit about this last time, where we talked about the 5 senses. And I want to review this a little bit before we go into more detail with that positive approach, because it's important to understand why. So we talked about the 3 predominant senses. This is the reason why I'm going to focus on these 3 is because this is mostly how we explore the world, right? So we've got visual, hearing, and touch. And the other 2 are taste and smell. And so like taste and smell and oral stuff are often something more in infancy. But as adults, those first 3 are primarily how we explore the world. And so we're going to start, and this is where I wanted to mention again, more detail. I go into great detail on this in the previous recording. So if you get a chance to listen to that, we're going to talk a lot about that in there. I don't want to spend too much time with it, but it's really important stuff. It gives you that why. Okay, so first way we get data, visual. It's our preferred way to get data. Our brains want to receive data visually first. What we see is the most powerful sensory. We see with our eye, but we process what we see back here in our occipital lobe. So what's between our eye and our occipital lobe? A lot of really complicated wiring. So with dementia, we know this wiring gets cut are jumbled up. So we're going to review what a person perceives visually as the disease progresses. And I'm just going to kind of go over that with you, okay? Because I know last time we did it together, but I do want to kind of just review that with you. For a healthy 25-year-old puts their hands out, you can see their fingers wiggling. A healthy 75-year-old is here. This is their visual field, right? Normal aging. So a healthy 75-year-old, another way to do this is putting up like you're looking through a portal. Now, as we kind of start experiencing some dementia, we put on a scuba mask. Visual changes. And then as the disease progresses, it's binoculars. And as the disease progresses, we kind of wiggle a little bit like this because my visual field doesn't change, but now I can start being confused as to what I do with this item and what is it called. And then as the disease progresses, monocular. And with monocular, we lose depth perception. And then as the disease progresses into pearl, so we're doing the gem states as we progress and into pearl. And we squeeze it real tight, a little pinhole, and I can only do one thing at a time. So if my eyes open, I can't do anything else. And that's true earlier in the disease, but we'll notice people late in the disease when they're eating, they'll have their eyes closed. I can't look at you and focus on what I'm doing in my mouth. So it's important to know when we approach people with dementia, how they're experiencing the world visually. Our second way we take in data is with hearing, auditory, second way we take in data. It's second most important. But if we hear something, what do we want to do? We want to look. We hear something, we want to look. So when we're approaching someone with dementia, we want to give a knock or some indication that we're coming to them so that they can see us first. All right, now the third way we take in data, oops, not so nice, touch, okay? Keep in mind that touch is the last thing we want to do before visual and auditory. We make sure the person sees us and hears us before we touch them. So keep in mind, I know you're probably got 100 questions thinking like, well, what if they're sleeping? Or what if they're later in the stage, right? And they're not going to open their eyes. Is this a recipe or ingredients? These are ingredients to help you put things together. And I'll talk later about an opportunity for you to really dig into those very specific questions. So people with dementia retain strength and they like pressure. So when we do touch, we want to make sure that we're not doing some light little thing like this, right? We want to make sure that we're being secure and firm. So what we do with handshakes for people with dementia is move into what's called a hand under hand. And this is a Teepa Snow thing, hand under hand. So you still have access. This is my friend. This is an oatmeal hand. So we still have access to our skill fingers. So if I need to feed somebody, I still have access to my skill fingers. But because people with dementia retain their strength, and sometimes they can squeeze hard, and the part of the brain that tells them to let go isn't working, they could squeeze as hard as they want, and it's not going to hurt my hand in this position. Now, in a traditional handshake, oh, that could hurt. So we want to try and keep into a hand under hand. Okay. Actually, I've been sharing my screen that whole time. So since I'm sharing it, I'm going to go ahead and show the next slide and then I'll unshare. So we're understanding visual, auditory, touch. And if that helps you to do these things, visual, auditory, touch. Teepa loves all these hand motions because it helps us learn, it helps us to retain, and that's what we want to do. Emotions. Keep in mind that how a person with dementia feels will impact how an encounter goes with them. So we want to avoid triggering their amygdala, which we talked about last time, by surprising them or communicating with them in a way that causes them to become upset. So this speaks to the importance of the positive physical approach. Okay, stopping sharing is better that way. If you want to change your view to, you can. I'm not sure if you've got it set where they see everybody or just me, but just so you know, it's on the top right corner view if you just want to see me. So what we're talking about is positive physical approach. This is where we left off last time. I kind of zoomed over it the last couple of minutes, but then I'm like, okay, I'm actually going to show you now what this positive physical approach is. We're going to spend the bulk of the rest of our time together here. When we use a positive approach to care, we're focusing on what abilities and skills remain for the person with dementia. So many times we focus on what's lost. But by doing that, we're not really left with any tools to use, right? If we focus on what somebody can't do, then it's like, well, okay, that's, nice to know, but how can I care for them? So when we want to know how can I care for them, we've got to look at what skills they retain. So when we're doing the visual field, it's easy to focus on what they can't see. But if I focus on what they can see, then I'll know where to put items, their plate, their cup, the things that they can see. I'll know where is a better place to approach them because they're where they can see, depending on the stage of the disease. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is show you a slide. If you would like to take a picture of this, I'll show them again at the end. So if you don't get an opportunity to, you can also buy these on Teepa Snow's website. As you can see, it says sample back behind there. So this is not something that I would print out that says sample. I would purchase to hand out, but you could take a picture of it because this is good information she would like you to know. All right, so we're going to go step by step on the positive physical approach. So I'm going to first of all just tell you what it is. We're going to go over this slide together and then we're going to practice it because remember we talked about practice, practice, practice. We're going to practice it, and if you would do it with me, it would help you to seal it in. So first thing you do when you're approaching somebody with dementia is we want to get into their visual range and pause 6 feet away or 2 arm lengths. 2 arm lengths tells me I'm not going to harm you. I can't reach you. You're safe. And we're going to place our hand next to our face. We're going to smile and we're going to say our name. I'm Sheri and you are? Yeah. Or I might say, ooh, hey, Evelyn, it's Sheri. Now, Evelyn might know me, but will she be mad at me if I tell her who I am, even though she knows? She might say, yeah, I know. Oh, you know, right? But if she didn't know, oh, yeah. I can't tell you how many times people with dementia, do you notice what I've got here in their visual field? The name tag. I draw their attention. Hey, yeah, keeping in mind their visual range. Now I'm going to extend my hand and approach slowly from the front, but I'm going to make sure that my hand is in her visual field. I've actually shook somebody's hand. I was too close to them. I was like, oh, hey, and it's too close to shake their hand. And I went, oh, hey, and they gave me a high five. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so funny. But if you offer your hand outside their visual range and they don't take it, well, there could be a few reasons for that, right? They might be, their dementia might be progressed, but oftentimes you accidentally slipped it outside their visual range and it disappeared to them. Okay, so I want to show you the hand under hand because that is a technique, and I'm going to use my glove and then I'm going to use my other hand to show you multiple ways to practice. And if you have somebody with you, practice with them. That's even better. So when I approach somebody and I say, hey, and now this is the hand, and I come in for a handshake, this is typically how we do a handshake, right? When we switch into hand under hand, we go into a butterfly, and then we grip, and then the person supporting the caregiver goes under. My hand is under theirs. I am supporting them. So I'll do it again. Coming in, handshake, shift to hand under hand, like that. Now, if you don't have somebody with you and you want to practice that, take your left hand and put it out like this. And the reason almost everybody's right-handed. Now, there are people who aren't right-handed, but the majority of people are. So if you don't know, you're going to be pretty safe in guessing that they're right-handed. And so we'll always want to use our right hand by our face unless we know. Even people who are left-handed are familiar and comfortable shaking right hand. But to do tasks and to do cares, if they're left-handed, you're going to want to get good at the left-handed piece because they're going to be better. I was just caring for somebody and helping him, and it was not going well. And I was like, are you left-handed? And he was like, uh-huh. So I switched to left-handed and the world opened up. It was so much easier. Okay, so if we take our left hand, this is what we're going to pretend is the person with dementia's hand. The pinky is their thumb. So I'm going to say hi, and then I'm going to come in and I'm going to shake their hand, shift into the butterfly, and then go to hand under hand. So this is just practicing on my own. So I've got my hand under hand. This could very well be a person with dementia here, and I'm holding their hand and I can help them with eating. Okay, this is one of those things that if you practice it a few times, ooh, it gets easy. A little easier than the crossing your hand one. A lot easier. So let's do it together. Let's go through this together. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so you can actually see me. And if you would all get up and move like 6 feet away from your computer. Your camera on your computer is your person with dementia. That's one good thing with Zoom is we actually have a visual field of somebody in an emerald state. What's in your camera field is probably what they could see. So we're going to start. I'm going to shift it so that you can actually see me. Visual first. Once they get their attention, so I'm going to do Evelyn because she's sitting there, and I'm going to say, hi, Evelyn, it's Sheri. And then I'm going to extend my hand. And if she extends her hand back, then I've got permission to hold it. Okay. So then I come in. Now I can get into her personal space. I've been given permission to get into her personal space. I have shifted into hand under hand. Now, what happens here? Hi, Evelyn. Where's her visual field? We want to take supportive stance. So we're going to take your right shoulder and put it back. And pretend you've got an arm here. And then I can get down in your visual field. If we get grabbed or pulled or anything by somebody with dementia, it's because we put ourselves in their way. Okay, we're going to do that again. Okay, we're back 6 feet. Knock, get the visual. Hi, Evelyn, it's Sheri. And now she gives me her hand. I take it. I get down at her level, hand under hand. Positive approach. That's the positive physical approach. How did that feel? I mean, some people have their cameras on. A little bit okay, a little bit practice more. There's a class I'll tell you about that actually has, yep, good. Okay, I'll tell you about it at the end of a great class that you guys can actually practice this in depth with, virtually, of course. Okay, so we got that now we're going to practice I'm going to share my screen again because we actually have the next step. So when you look at this slide, you'll see at the bottom where it says, use a positive personal connection, deliver a message using a positive action starter. So what I've given you is a little micro moment, because everything about dementia is about relationships. When I approach you in a way that you can feel safe and not intimidated, then I've created a good moment for you. And now let's see, I might have something I need to do before I can actually provide some cares for you. And so the next thing that we have is I'm going to go to the next slide, positive personal connector. So with a positive personal connector, we want to take that next step because sometimes we're there, right? And we're with the person, and now what? So this slide gives you some ideas of things to do. You may have way more than this, but this is just some little ingredients for your recipe that you're putting together. So we might want to offer a complimentary greeting. So for example, I might say, oh, hey, Evelyn, I love your hair color. That's beautiful. Now I don't touch her hair. I touch my own, right? Because even though I'm touching her, what does it mean if I'm gonna, no, this is why we do hand under hand, right? So if I wanted Evelyn to maybe she needs to brush her hair, then I could put the hairbrush. Ooh, I don't have a hairbrush on me. Let's pretend this is a hairbrush. I could put the hairbrush in my skill fingers and help Evelyn brush her own hair. Because she still can do that with some help. And she might actually do this a couple times until what? Why are you holding my hand? Brush my own hair. Right? We're supporting people to be independent. The more independent they are, the better able they are to experience life and the less we have to do for them. So many times we just say, well, they don't brush their teeth anymore. That doesn't mean that they can't brush their teeth. That means we might have to do some of the steps and we might have to be more supportive. All right. So another thing you might have noticed on here is the I share, you share piece, right? So I could sit down next to Evelyn and say, you know, hey, Evelyn, I've been here before. How about you? I've been sitting for a long time. How about you? Right? I'm just doing a greeting. Oh, Evelyn, you have a beautiful plant back there. You're very good at taking care of plants. This positive relationship is everything. When they see you, and this, if you even have a bad relationship with somebody with dementia and you're like, okay, they don't like me, they're going to need a different caregiver. And we can actually change the way we are. That person with dementia will become familiar with your new way of being. That's the beauty of it. The more we know and grow and learn, the better it is for them. I always tell staff in facilities, who's the one who can change so-and-so or provide those cares for them with their incontinence products? Oh, it's got to be Bill. Okay, what does Bill do? It can't be always Bill. We all have to learn the skills. And Bill's doing something. And there's a relationship built there. But people with dementia want to be genuinely liked. One of the things I hear a lot of is that they don't think people like them. Right? Because they can be needy. Excuse me, would you help me? I need to find my room. But if we can make that connection, they feel better. Their experience is going to be better.
Sheri, would this be a bad time to interrupt you?
Go ahead. Yeah. Anybody have any questions before we move on?
I would like to say that yesterday on a call, we had several caregivers who were working with people with dementia, family members. And they said that one of the things that made them extremely angry and or sad, was that as someone became more demented, that the friends stopped calling, stopped coming, stopped wanting to be a part of it. And I think if they knew some of this stuff, it would be so great. And we talked about the need for education and the need for, being comfortable with disability.
Mhm, mhm. So why do we think people stop coming around? I mean, you hit the nail on the head. It's that lack of knowledge. I don't know what to talk about. I don't know how to respond to them when they ask me where their mother is, or when they play the wrong card when we're playing cards, or that they yell at somebody. I'm embarrassed. I don't know how to be. I don't think they get any enjoyment out of my visit anyway. So, and they're going to forget that I was there. So I might as well not even go. So that psychology is really something we do to protect ourselves, right? Because it's hard. This is hard stuff, you guys. This is not, you're not going to walk away, be like, okay, well, I'll do that now. You're going to say, oh, I'm going to try really hard to do one or two of these things. But we have to continue learning, because we know that people with dementia aren't going to get better. They're not going to learn how to navigate their world better. It's going to take us and all of us and the friends. So one of the things that I suggest to people is that they offer to have a conversation with the friends without the person with dementia involved, and say, hey, what I've noticed is when I talk to my wife, I bring up her, whatever thing she used to do that she feels so proud of. I ask her opinion. I ask for her help. I tell the stories. And sometimes we shake up the stories, right? Sometimes, like, I'll say to somebody who I know used to play the accordion, I will say, you know what? I have a friend who used to play the accordion. Oh, I used to play the accordion, because the more distant memories are going to be more intact. Do the friends know that? Probably not. Would it be helpful if you told them? Yes. Give them things to talk about. This is a village, and it takes a village. So when somebody gets dementia, we are all living with dementia, whether it's in our brain or in our community. So we have to be a part of learning and growing and how to do it. And as care partners, as the main care partner, the spouse, the adult child, we have a responsibility to help other people continue in their role of support as best as they can. We can't control people, but just a little bit of knowledge. Like, gosh, if you talk to dad about that purple tractor he had and his dog, Bo, oh my gosh, he'll take that conversation forever. You don't have to come up with it. So we have to feed people. We have to help people with some ideas of things. Just like when you move somebody to a facility, they don't know this person. So we have to find out, we have to share with them what's going to be important. Well, John was a teacher and he taught social studies and he was in the Marines. So there was actually a John that I was working with. And my son's a Marine. So I actually started singing from the halls of Montezuma. And he took it over and he sang the whole rest of the song. And then so it was a connection. It's a moment. Does that answer your question?
Thank you so much. I think I'm going to see if maybe we can include your stuff with our post-session questionnaire that we're going to send out for yesterday. Minerva, I don't know if you've sent it out already, or maybe we can just do a new email, because I think it would answer a lot of questions that people asked yesterday that we didn't really have a specific answer for.
Yeah. If you ever want to do a panel or something like that, where you've got different experts that want to talk and share information, consider me. I'm in the village. So I'm part of the support, and whatever we can do to make it the best quality of life, not only for the person with dementia, but for the care partner. Think about that person who, the neighbor who used to always visit, who quit, comes back and spends an hour or an hour and a half talking about their old college days or whatever. Wow. I hear it a lot. Like, wow, I felt like I had my husband back for a moment. It's because of what we do. It's always on us.
Would you like to open it up for questions?
Sure. I have one more thing. Can I go over the positive action starter?
Of course.
And then
Sorry.
okay. Nope, that's okay. I'm going to flip it one more. So here's a new screen. This is the positive action starter. So we did the positive approach to care, right? I got in her personal space, hand in her hand. I gave her a compliment, right? Or I share, you share. Now I've got to do something. Now I know Evelyn's been sitting here for a long time and she probably needs to use the ladies' room. But if I say, Evelyn, you've been sitting here for a long time. Let's go to the bathroom. Yeah, no, I don't have to.
It looks like you're going to leave.
Yeah. And usually if we ask a yes or no question, people with dementia will often say no. It's a survival thing. It's a protective thing. Like, I'm fine. So, but if I said, ooh, Evelyn, you've been sitting here a long time. Oh, let's stand up. And we'll try and stand up. Or as you can see here, I could use your help. Wow. How many times do people with dementia feel needed? Not very often. But if I could use your help, that sense of purpose, that human sense of purpose is there. Can we try? Try is a magic word. I got something. Let's go try. Now, I might not say, let's go try using the restroom. But I say, I have an idea. Let's go try. I'm giving options. Would you like some coffee or tea? Or would you like this? Would you like coffee or something else? Something else opens it up. If it's not coffee, I could say something else. If it's not coffee and not tea, no. So, or something else. First, little tasks, right? Let's get up. Let's go for a walk. Ooh, let's try the ladies' room. And step by step. Okay, so that is the positive physical approach, positive personal connector, positive action starter. And these are all things that you can also get on Teepa's website too. So we are getting close to time, but I would like to open it up for questions, and then I can share a couple other things on my screen.
Okay, we had Betty who asked, do you only use this as new to the person or late mid-stage? I haven't seen staff use this and none of the family members to their person.
Okay, so this positive approach to care is throughout the stages. So even if somebody doesn't have dementia, I can still do an I share, you share, right? Now, do I need to hold the hand of somebody in early dementia? Probably not, right? So if I don't need to hold their hand, it's okay to just say, oh, hey, it's Sheri. How's it going? I don't have to. So this is where I'm saying it's kind of more of ingredients than a recipe. Now, there's a gentleman that I'm working with who, if you don't get into hand under hand, he will squeeze you, pull you in and grab your arm, and he doesn't know he's doing that. But if I can get into hand under hand and I keep leaning back so he doesn't grab at me and I'm still nice, ooh, hey, I like your hat. So this is all stages. And when we talk about stages, just so you know, you're talking about the GEM stages if you're talking to me. So a lot of doctors will talk about early, middle, late, or the 7 stages, or there's multiple ways. The GEM stages does a progression, but it focuses on what is retained. So short answer to your question, yes, we use this throughout. It just depends on what you're trying to do with the person and what's needed.
The GEM stages are on your website?
They're not on my website. You can get them on Teepa Snow's website, which is teepasnow.com, TEEPA SNOW. and I think you go shop. Yeah. And I can do a GEMS presentation too. It's a whole other concept. Any other questions?
Anybody? This is the chance. You've got an expert here.
While people are considering questions, I'm going to share with you that the positive action starters, the positive personal connector, positive approach to care, and why, what's happening in the brain during the different stages of the disease, and why certain approaches will work better than others, and practice. There are 4 champion courses offered by Teepa Snow, her mentor group. And so that right now the public ones are Fridays in the time zone thing. So, but I put a link here to her website, and I can actually put that in the chat for you. Because this is something, it's pretty affordable if you ask me, and you get, I think they're like $50 for each class. Each class is 200. 200, sorry. Each class is 50 for 2 hours, and there's 4 classes, and it's impactful, and you'll probably see me there. I offer, if I can stop this, I offer this in person. So I have been doing all summer virtual champion courses with Teepa Snow, and I'm now doing it in person. So if you're a facility or a home care agency, these are great for professionals, actually, because you can really apply what you've learned to multiple people. And so I do offer these in person. So if you want to take a picture of your screen, just give me a call or an email, let me know if you're interested. And then the other thing that I do for family caregivers is, this is one I have scheduled for coming up. There's 5 sessions. They're 90 minutes each. This one's virtual, so anybody anywhere can tune in. And we're going to talk a lot about some of the things that we've talked about in the last couple sessions and more. So it's a great opportunity. And there's how you reach me.
Okay, we have 2 more chats that just came in. Let's see. Oh, one was you. Oh, great information. Can't wait to try these, from Tamara. Well, I can't thank you enough. You do such a beautiful, clear, understandable presentation. I love all your little things that you have to help out. I would like to say that I'm so pleased with people, for joining us today and for your comments. Hope that you will share this information. Get your friends, if you're one of those people who the friends don't come over to see your dementia person anymore, get them on the podcast. Get them on both podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
Just get them started to learn how to get more comfortable with the person who has dementia, because it's very difficult. And you feel like, I've talked to so many people who feel like, well, I know it's my fault. I should get more comfortable with it, but they don't know how.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you can help. You can help them know how.
This is hard for the person with dementia, but it's also hard for the rest of us.
Right.
It is. This is very challenging. This is not common sense stuff. We don't just know this. And so people's response to kind of tuck back in and step back is common and understandable. But there's options out there. And if you Google Teepa Snow and go on her YouTube, you'll find all kinds of really good stuff and things that may even help the family and friends and neighbors with how to communicate. And I'm always here.
Thank you. Molly says, what are the names of the podcasts you're recommending again? And it is Using a Positive Approach, Part 1 and Part 2. And we will be sending them out with the post-session questionnaire. And this is where I need to tell you that if you're not registered, if you got this number from somebody else, you need to get registered. And the number, I'm going to give you the number, but it's also on our website, caregiverteleconnection.org. And that is our customer service, 866-390-6491. You could call them and get registered with the Caregiver Teleconnection, and you will not only get the post-session questionnaire, the two podcasts, you'll get the resources that you've seen here. And it just went up on chat. Thank you, Minerva. And the other thing that you'll get is the monthly calendar. And let me tell you a little bit about the monthly calendar, because these guys are doing such an amazing job lining up experts to talk about different topics. Tomorrow is Dear Lucy, who's one of our regular speakers, social worker, wonderful woman, understanding the signs of paranoia, hallucinations, and delusional behaviors. So many people mix these up. So many people will go in and tell the doctor, oh, they're delusional, but they have no idea what that actually, how to differentiate that. So that's a really good one. On Monday, September 12th, we've got awaiting Medicare schemes during fall open enrollment. That is one of the things probably we all need to look at as we get older. On Tuesday, the 13th, we've got the management of fatigue when caring for someone with dementia, and that's with Dr. Nestor Pedario, and it is in Spanish. So if you speak Spanish, or if you know someone who does, please encourage them. And I have been on the phone many times with the good doctor. He's like, it's like talking to your priest or St. Francis. He's so good. Wednesday, the 14th, we have safe medications with Lucy Veralac, and that is really a good one. She really talks not just about not, mixing medications, not using your friend's medications, how to get rid of medications. I mean, she really goes through the whole thing well, and she does a great job of that. On the 15th, we have Disaster Preparedness 101 for caregivers, and that's both with Dr. Elliott Montgomery Sklar and Lucy again. And this is National Preparedness Month, in case you didn't know that. I didn't. Did you know that, Sheri?
No, I didn't, but I do now.
Okay. Yes. So that's September 15th. You might want to listen into that, because as we get older, we need different things in place. On the 20th, we have Alzheimer's and other dementias, how to prevent them, with a doctor, clinical professor of neurology from Arizona College of Medicine. And it's interesting. His topics are: what are the risk factors for Alzheimer's, how modifying risk factors can prevent millions of cases, and what can each of us do in our daily lives to reduce our personal risk by as much as 50%. So that should be a really great one. And then we're having on the 28th, COVID-19, monkeypox, and flu, fall 2022, caregiving update. So both Elliott Montgomery Sklar and Lucy Veralac will be presenting that, and they have done over the last 2 years a monumental job of helping caregivers understand the issues, the very special issues for caregivers, not just aging caregivers, the LGBTQIA+2 community, because they're involved in that, and they've studied it and they've researched it. And so that will be a very interesting presentation also. So I really encourage you to call customer service and get that information. And I would like to say such a great thank you to Sheri for doing this twice for us. Hopefully maybe we can get you annually or something now. It was great. I also like to thank every one of the caregivers for what you do every day, and for joining us today, and for sharing what you've shared. It's so great, and it makes our podcast so much better. Let's see if I've forgotten anything. And getting lots of feedback here about how much they liked your presentation, Sheri. And I think, I know who I forgot to thank. I forgot to thank the WellMed Charitable Foundation, because they have supported so many of these. They've organized them. They've taped them, recorded them, put them up on the website. We are so lucky to have the WellMed Charitable Foundation supporting the Caregiver Teleconnection. And with that, I would say goodbye to all of you. Thank you so much for being with us today. Sheri, thanks again.
Thank you.
Yes, and we hope to see many of you in the future, because we have so many great topics and great experts who work with us. Bye-bye, everybody.